Hi, my name is Benson Quach. I am a producer and assistant director, primarily working with Wong Fu Productions, but I also freelance on the side in the grip and lighting departments as well. Typically, the producer and the assistant director are two different positions. I like to explain it in this way that the producer, their currency is money and the budget, right? And then with the assistant director, their currency is time and scheduling. So when a producer is looking at the budget of a film and knowing how much is spent per day or per location, the assistant director is looking at how much time is spent in a certain scene or a certain setup. And also part of the assistant director's job is the overall safety of a set. So I know being at OS Films, there's a lot of stunts involved, there's a lot of action, so safety is a big part of making OS Films possible and making all the actors and the crew feel safe as well. Even on your regular narrative dramatic shorts, there's always safety to keep in mind. You have a lot of lights, you have a lot of heavy equipment that's being used, so you want to make sure that as an AD that you have at least general knowledge of all the different departments, just a little taste that you can know and you can point out when things are being done unsafely. I always stress that up-and-coming ADs, they try out the grip and lighting department, they try out the art department, the sound department, so they have an understanding of what each crew position does, because that not only helps to keep the set safe, but it also gives you context in how to schedule your days. Like if you know how long a specific lighting setup would take, that is really helpful when you're scheduling out a day that might be 10 pages worth of script or 30 setups, you know? So if you know something's gonna be an easy kind of flip to the other side, or maybe it's a whole 180-degree flip to the other side, you'll know generally how long it would take to move everything, and especially in the context of how many crew members you have. I always stress that, just get a little taste of each department, and if you can get to an intermediate level with each department, then your crew respects your experience as well, and they can trust that you will be there to protect them as the AD. So overall, the AD's job starts in pre-production. As soon as there's a green light to produce a project, the AD should be coming in. The AD is gonna start with the script, break it down, figure out how many scenes there are, how many locations there are, how many actors or leads, even supporting cast. So the AD takes all these different puzzle pieces and puts it into the complete picture before the film is even in production. So a lot of what ADs would say is that the film is actually made in pre-production. It's just shot in principal photography. So if you're doing your pre-production during principal photography, that might be too late. So it shouldn't be an uphill battle in principal photography. It should be the uphill battle in pre-production. You should try to get at least like 90% of all your kinks and any potential issues. You should get all those figured out during pre-production so that during principal photography, you can just focus on the story, the performances, and all the fine details that make a project come to life. So if an AD does their job correctly, their responsibilities during principal photography should just be checking things off the checklist. The call sheet, you're just working down the call sheet and making sure everything's happening on time and on schedule. And then also, when you're in pre-production, you're budgeting for extra time that you might need. So if you know that a certain scene potentially might take a lot more takes or longer resets, you're factoring that in. So a lot of times I will budget extra time towards the end of the day, and that's kind of like a savings account or my credit card that I can pull from later. Maybe if I know something will take a full day, maybe I'll ask for an extra half day at that location to either pre-light or maybe wrap out the next day, just to make sure that we have all the time we need to get the essentials, which is the coverage. So if you think about what a director does, a director should be focused on everything that happens in front of the camera. And I always like to say that the assistant director is responsible for everything behind the camera. So if the director is focused on performances of the cast, the AD should be focused on the performances of the crew. So making sure everybody's working at a healthy pace. And after lunch, when we're having that post-lunch kind of slump, making sure that everybody's got the energy and has the right attitude to take it to the end of the day. And that's a big responsibility of the AD. I think an AD's nightmare would be really anything that's not on the call sheet or not on the schedule. A lot of times you'll have directors or actors that like to improvise, right? And that could be that could be really great for the film, but that could be also very drastic for the AD department because of how much responsibility is there. So if it's a stunt, you know, if you have something planned out, rehearsed, you do it for weeks, you know, the stunt team is completely there for that particular stunt, and then you have an idea later, oh, let's do it a little bit differently. That could really kind of throw a wrench into a production. Maybe the lead actor wants to do their own stunts, and then that's a whole, you know, renegotiation with insurance and things like that. So a specific event I'm trying to think of, a lot of times I block these out of my mind. I think the biggest thing that all ADs would kind of say in this regard is just getting questions of like what's happening next. Because you put in all that work in pre-production, you're very detailed with the call sheets, with the schedule, and for somebody, especially the director, to ask, oh, what are we doing next, or how much time do we have? The answer is always gonna be, it's on the call sheet. So, or like, what's the next location to go to? It's on the call sheet, it's in the email. I think that's the biggest frustrations that ADs face. Because, you know, that 20 to 30 seconds that, you know, we have to use to explain what's next is valuable time that you could be used filming. So again, it's that currency. It's like, are you wasting this currency explaining something that's already been explained? And I think that's a big thing that ADs will find in common. The one quality I look for in people, you know, starting as an intern, starting as a PA, or even crew members, is when they ask questions. I think that's a big thing. And that shows me that they're thinking about their job, that it's not where I have to go and reach and say, oh, do you have the camera package figured out, or do you have the lighting package figured out? If they're asking questions and figuring out what is needed from the production, that makes me feel a lot more comfortable. That way you don't feel like you have to kind of micromanage each position. So that's the number one quality, and it really is the basic business qualities, like even customer service and just knowing how to talk to people. A client might be on set that you have to be particularly friendly with. Maybe it's new cast that you have to make feel comfortable. So a lot of different qualities have to kind of come into that person. Friendliness, good attitude, and eagerness to learn. Those are all the things that I look for. So I know I only just scratched the surface of what it is to be an assistant director, but I'm always chatting with folks on LinkedIn, on Instagram, about just the industry in general and how to navigate through. So feel free to follow me or just shoot me a message on Instagram at Benson Q. I'm also doing instructional videos on TikTok at Benson Quach. I do have a website that I plan to post some more blogs on, bensonquach.com, and also you can just find my work and what I'm working on at Wong Fu Productions.